rural lands of South Carolina's lowcountry, there once lived a family that seemed almost untouchable. For nearly a century, the Murdaughs stood at the top of the legal system, controlling courtrooms, shaping justice, and earning a level of power and respect that few families ever achieve. Their name opened doors, and sometimes closed cases. To the outside world, they looked perfect, wealthy, respected, generous, and deeply rooted in their community. But behind that polished image, something darker had been growing for years. Hidden financial crimes, strange and unexplained deaths, a tragic boating accident that shook the entire state. And finally, a double murder so shocking that it destroyed the very foundation of their legacy. What once seemed like a proud Southern dynasty slowly began to reveal cracks. Behind the grand houses, the hunting lodges, and the tradition of power, lay secrets that would eventually come to light, secrets capable of tearing down a century-old empire. This is not just the story of one family. It is the story of power, unchecked and unquestioned. A story of secrets, buried until they could no longer be hidden. And the story of how one of the most influential families in the South collapsed under the weight of their own darkness. This is the rise and fall of the Murdaugh family. To understand the Murdaugh murders, we must first understand the powerful family behind the name. For more than a century, the Murdaughs dominated the legal system in South Carolina's lowcountry region. 3 generations of Murdaugh men served as elected prosecutors, also known as solicitors, giving the family enormous influence over courts, cases, and the community. People respected them, some feared them. And almost everyone believed the Murdaughs had connections that reached far beyond the county lines. Alongside their role in the justice system, they owned a thriving law firm known as PMPD, now called the Parker Law Group. Clients trusted them with their biggest cases, and the community saw them as pillars of success and authority. The family lived on sprawling properties, drove expensive vehicles, owned boats, and spent their time hunting and hosting gatherings that reflected their southern wealth and prestige. But beneath the elegant lifestyle and long-standing reputation, small cracks had already begun to form. Cracks hidden behind the walls of their influence, cracks that no one outside the family could see. And those invisible fractures were slowly growing into something much darker. At the center of this story stands Alex Murdaugh, a well-known lawyer, a husband, and a father who came from generations of power. To many, he was a man of influence, someone who carried the family legacy with confidence. Beside him was his wife, Maggie, a warm and friendly woman who was liked by almost everyone who knew her. She was known for her kindness, her love for the outdoors, and her devotion to her children. Their older son, Buster, was more reserved, quiet, focused, and often seen as the responsible one in the family. In contrast, their younger son, Paul, was outgoing, energetic, and often found himself in situations that drew attention. He loved the social life, loved adventure, and sometimes crossed lines that created problems for the family. From the outside, the Murdaughs looked like a picture-perfect Southern family, wealthy, successful, and living a privileged life built on generations of prestige. They had beautiful homes, strong community ties, and the appearance of stability. But behind that carefully maintained image, the reality was far more complicated. There were tensions, secrets, and growing pressures hidden beneath the surface, signs of a storm that would one day bring the entire family legacy crashing down. In 2019, everything in the Murdaugh family's world began to change. What had once been a life of privilege and influence slowly shifted toward chaos. On a cold February night, Paul Murdaugh was out on the water with several friends, enjoying what was supposed to be a normal gathering. But many of those friends later said Paul had been drinking heavily that evening, and witnesses recalled that he was acting recklessly, refusing to let anyone else drive the boat despite their concerns. As the boat moved through the dark, quiet waters of the South Carolina River, the mood shifted from fun to fear. The group argued, tried to calm Paul down, but the boat sped ahead anyway. Suddenly, without warning, it slammed into a bridge.
The boat just takes it straight into the hull, cracks it right down the seam, and you have a boat that is falling apart in front of your eyes.
The violent impact threw 19-year-old Mallory Beach into the freezing river. Panic took over as everyone screamed and searched desperately in the darkness.
911, where's your emergency?
We're in a boat crash on Arthur Street.
Whereabouts on Arthur Street?
In Arthur Street, the only bridge on Arthur Street.
A boat? Did you say a boat crash?
A boat crash. There's 6 of us and 1 is missing. Please send someone.
No, we're calling, okay?
We're under the only bridge in Arthur Street.
Okay.
If you come in Arthur Street, there's only one bridge and we're under the bridge.
Okay. Okay.
But Mallory was nowhere to be found. Days later, her body was discovered downstream, a heartbreaking end to a night that should never have unfolded the way it did.
Beaufort County coroner confirms the body of a woman found near the Broad River boat ramp Sunday is Mallory Beach.
The tragedy sent shockwaves across the community. People mourned Mallory's loss, and at the same time, questions quickly grew louder. Would the Murdaugh family's power and connections influence the investigation? Multiple witnesses told authorities that Paul was the one driving the boat, but at the crash scene, confusion and mixed statements were reported. Some claimed that attempts were made to shift responsibility, and the community found itself wondering whether Paul was being protected because of his last name. Eventually, Paul was charged with boating under the influence causing death. It seemed like the case would finally move forward, and many hoped justice would be served. But before the trial could even begin, another tragedy, far more shocking and devastating, would soon strike the Murdaugh family. 2 years earlier, in 2018, another tragedy had quietly unfolded on the Murdaugh property, one that would only gain attention much later. Gloria Satterfield, the family's longtime housekeeper who had worked with them for more than 20 years, suffered a fall at their home. She was a trusted figure in the household, someone who had watched the Murdaugh children grow up and had become almost like family. Her death was shocking and heartbreaking for those who knew her, but at the time, very few details were made public.
911, where's your emergency?
Mayfield Road.
What's going on out there?
My housekeeper has fallen and her head is bleeding. I cannot get her up.
She's still going up the steps, up the brick steps.
Okay, so she outside or inside?
Outside.
Okay. How many steps is there?
8.
Okay, is she on the ground or is she up near the
She's
top?
on the ground. She's on the ground. She's on the
Is she
ground.
conscious?
No, not really.
How old is she?
I'm not sure, like 58 maybe.
The incident seemed like a tragic accident, yet in the years that followed, it would become one of the key pieces in the unraveling of the Murdaugh legacy. As investigators began digging deeper into the family's financial world after the later events, they discovered irregularities connected to the wrongful death settlement meant for Gloria's family. Millions of dollars that were supposed to go to her sons never reached them. The money appeared to have been diverted through a series of transactions that raised serious concerns. This financial trail, once hidden in paperwork and legal filings, suddenly became a crucial part of the larger investigation.
At the same time, SLED has got reason to investigate Alex's financial crimes. Eventually, the Satterfield family were reading articles all over the state of South Carolina about how there was a death settlement. Her sons didn't know anything about a settlement. And they looked at each other and said, I didn't get any money. Did you get any money?
By 2021, the pressure on Alex Murdaugh had become nearly unbearable. For years, investigators would later reveal he had secretly been taking money from his law firm and even from his clients, millions of dollars siphoned away in carefully hidden transactions.
And we learned that Alex Murdaugh was not practicing law. Alex Murdaugh was practicing stealing money. At the end of the day, Alex recovered $4.3 million. Our clients got none of that money. Zero.
Then came a night that would shock the entire world, a night that would transform speculation and suspicion into a tragedy of unimaginable proportions. On the night of June 7, 2021, at exactly 10:07 p.m., Alex Murdaugh made a call that would send shockwaves across the nation. He dialed 911, reporting the unthinkable, that he had discovered the lifeless bodies of his wife, Maggie, and their youngest son, Paul, near the family's hunting property.
Hampton County 911, where's your emergency?
This is Alex Murdaugh at 4147 Moselle Road. I need the police to answer immediately. My wife and child just got badly.
Stay on the line with me, okay? Yes, sir. Stay on the line with me, okay?
I'll get up to it now. It's bad.
Okay. Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it's your wife and your son?
My wife and my son.
Are they in a vehicle?
No, ma'am. They're on the ground out at my kennel.
Okay, and did you see anyone? Is he breathing at all?
No, nobody.
Do you see anyone in the area?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
And you sure they're not breathing? Is he moving at all, your son? I know you said that she was shot, but what about your son?
Nobody. They're not. Neither one of them's moving.
The words he spoke would mark the beginning of one of the most shocking criminal investigations in recent American history. When police arrived, they were met with a scene of unimaginable horror. Paul had been shot at close range with a shotgun, and Maggie had been killed by a rifle. The violence and precision of the attack stunned even the most experienced officers. It was not the work of a random criminal. This was deeply personal, calculated, and chilling in its execution. At first, many in the community and the media speculated that the murders might be linked to the long shadow of the 2019 boating accident, in which Paul had been involved in the death of Mallory Beach. Perhaps someone seeking revenge had finally taken matters into their own hands. But as investigators began to dig deeper, evidence emerged that would shift the focus entirely. As investigators began piecing together the events leading up to that fateful night, they meticulously examined every detail: phones, vehicles, weapons, and the timelines of the family's movements. What they found were cracks in Alex Murdaugh's story. Inconsistencies emerged in his statements, small but significant, which raised red flags for the detectives working the case. Every call, every text, every movement was scrutinized for clues, as law enforcement slowly began to untangle the web of secrecy surrounding the family.
Paul Murdaugh's phone was found on his body at the scene, and we've confirmed with that same source that on that phone there is video which contains audio of Alex Murdaugh talking with his wife Maggie close to the time of the murders. Alex Murdaugh is not seen on the video, but he is heard speaking with her, and that recording has a timestamp, which could be key to the investigation.
A video recorded on Paul's phone, just minutes before the murders, captured an unexpected and chilling detail. In the background, Alex's voice could be heard, placing him at the very scene of the crime, contradicting his previous denials. This small piece of evidence, once overlooked, suddenly became one of the most crucial pieces in the investigation. As more evidence emerged, from phone records, car GPS data, and witness testimony, a new picture began to take shape. It showed that Alex Murdaugh, the patriarch of a family long regarded as untouchable, was present around the time of the murders. As the murder investigation unfolded, police stumbled upon something far larger than anyone had anticipated. Behind the tragedies, behind the public image of wealth and prestige, Alex Murdaugh had been hiding a massive web of financial wrongdoing. Investigators discovered that he had been stealing money not only from his clients but also from his own law firm. Shockingly, he had even taken funds from settlements that were meant to help victims, money intended for grieving families and those in desperate need. What had begun as a criminal investigation into murder was now revealing a far deeper betrayal. As more details surfaced, the total amount involved crossed into the millions of dollars. Suddenly, the focus of the investigation shifted. The murders were no longer just a tragic loss of life. They were now seen in the context of greed, deceit, and a man under immense financial pressure. In September 2021, just months after the devastating murders of his wife and son, a shocking and bizarre event captured national attention.
Hampton County 911, where's
Where's your emergency?
On Salkahatchee Road.
Okay, what's the address on Salkahatchee Road?
I'm by the church.
What church? What church are you talking about?
I don't know the name of it with the red roof.
Okay, what's going on?
I got a flat tire,
Mm-hmm.
and I stopped, and somebody stopped to help me. And when I turned my back, they tried to shoot me.
Oh, okay. Were you shot?
Yes, but I'm okay.
You shot where? Where were you shot at?
Huh?
Did they actually shoot you or they tried to shoot you?
They shot me, but...
Okay, wait, you need EMS?
Well, I mean, yes, I can't drive.
Okay.
And I'm bleeding a lot.
Where part of your body?
I'm not sure. Somewhere on my head.
Your head? Okay, and what's your name?
Alex Murdaugh. Alex Murdaugh? Yes, ma'am.
Alex Murdaugh claimed that he had been shot on the side of a rural road while changing a tire. The images were dramatic, Alex bloodied, appearing vulnerable, and seemingly the victim of a violent attack. The story immediately made headlines, adding another layer of chaos to an already tumultuous year for the family. But as investigators dug deeper, the narrative began to unravel. Evidence and witness accounts suggested something far more disturbing, that Alex had orchestrated the shooting himself. Law enforcement later described it as an elaborate insurance scheme, designed to secure a payout to cover his mounting financial losses.
Basically, in rehab, he told officers that he hired a man named Curtis Edward Smith to help him commit suicide, so it would look like somebody else shot him.
In early 2023, the courtroom doors opened, marking the start of the highly anticipated trial for the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh. From the very first day, it became one of the most watched trials in America, drawing intense media attention and public fascination. People across the country followed every testimony, every piece of evidence, and every twist that unfolded in the courtroom. The trial was not just about two lives lost, it was about wealth, power, betrayal, and the fall of a family once considered untouchable. The prosecution built a case that was both detailed and damning. They presented a combination of compelling evidence, the video placing Alex at the crime scene just minutes before the murders, phone and car GPS data showing his movements, detailed analysis of the guns and ammunition used, and even financial records that suggested motive and desperation. Each piece was carefully laid out to paint a picture of a man whose life of lies and deceit had spiraled out of control. On the other side, the defense fought to protect Alex's image. They argued that he was a loving father and husband, devastated by the loss of his family. They challenged the investigation, claiming it was flawed, biased, and rushed. They highlighted that no direct physical evidence linked Alex to the murder weapons. According to the defense, suspicion alone was not enough to prove guilt. Alex explained that his lies were the result of paranoia, stress, and a long-standing addiction to painkillers. Yet, despite the contradictions and the growing mountain of evidence against him, he maintained one thing with unwavering certainty: he did not kill his wife and son. Despite the complexity of the case and the high-profile nature of the trial, they took only a few hours to reach a verdict, a decision that would bring a dramatic chapter of the Murdaugh saga to a close. Alex Murdaugh was found guilty of the murders of his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul. It is a stark reminder of how power can conceal dark secrets, how generations of privilege can shield wrongdoing, and how even the most untouchable families are not immune to the consequences of their actions. Yet, it also shows that truth has a way of rising to the surface, no matter how deeply it is buried. Justice, though sometimes delayed, ultimately finds a way to prevail. The Murdaugh saga stands as a cautionary tale, proof that no one, regardless of their name, their status, or their legacy, is above the law.